What's up, people? Welcome to another Lee's Corner. Glad y'all back today. We have a lot to talk about. I mean, a lot to talk about. Um, I told you guys that uh, my next Lee's Corner was going to be kind of me summing up American slavery and why um, it's still behind uh, most, if not all, of the U.S.'s problems today. Now, I know a lot of people are like, oh, slavery, talking about that again, so long ago. But if you only notice, only white people say that. Only white people say it. You never hear white people say anything like, oh, the Holocaust, it was so long ago. No, they say, the Holocaust, so sad. What happened to those people? Oh my God, you can't even say Holocaust in America without people, looking down or feeling sad. But if you say slavery, they suck their lips, look the other way. Oh, come on, man. Can you get over it? Can you get over it? Do you ever tell the Jews to get over it? No, because America itself does not want to look at its own personal sin. The reason why I can look at Jews, even though a lot of Americans at the time when Jews were migrating here because of the Holocaust, they didn't even like Jews. They had their own preconceived notions about Jews. But you look at people, white American Europeans today, and Jews are beloved. Well, take nothing for them. Best thing since sliced bread. Now, to make the note, I have no problem with Jews either. Don't have no problem with Jews. But America has a problem looking at its own sin of slavery. Now, before I get off into that tangent of the whole thing about slavery, everything is being divided today. America, as they say on the news, you see it all the time. America's divided. America's divided. America's divided. We need to stop America. Why is America divided? First of all, we have to cut through the minutia and the bullshit and the lies of America, of that it was ever together. America was never together. You cannot start a country on the back of another country that was already here, which means you can't wipe out the indigenous Native Americans and say, hey, we're going to start from scratch. No, that's the first sin. Is you tried to make slaves of the Native Americans and then put them on reservations and screw up their whole way of life. That was your first mistake. And then, instead of picking your own cotton, instead of doing your own stuff, you went to a lucrative slave trade and brought in African Americans to do your work for you and to build your country. Okay? Let's just be real and honest about how it started. That's how it started. Okay? Can we be honest about that? Let's be honest. Okay? Because I got a lot to cover today and I'm trying to keep y'all interested. I'm going to try to make this fast, but it's so much to pack into this thing. I want to go to Roland Martin, who was discussing how Fox News tried to berate him and certain Democrats and just people that didn't say Democrats by name, Democrats. They just said, Roland Martin and some others were being lapdogs to the rhetoric of Joe Biden, who was talking about that there is a part of America, half of America, or certain people in America who are dividing the country and is making it is endangering democracy. Well, those are facts. When you go after a Capitol building and kill cops, this is something white people hold dear, is the police, because it's the one thing that keeps them away from black folks, the enemy. And I'm gonna stop using black folks to describe myself and other black people, and I'll tell you why further down the thing. But Fox News basically seemed to think that it was dangerous for Democrats or anyone to say, I'm quoting here, saying that half of the country is endangering democracy. What's so funny about this to me is these people that are talking about the half the deplorables and half the country people that are trying to destroy democracy are the same white racist supremacist people who are still 13% of the country today, which is like 8 million people or so, who are saying they wouldn't mind being violent to get what they wanted. They have no problem being polled saying that they would be violent to get what they want. Matter of fact, let me look it up on the phone, on the thing. I just saw it. I got it this morning. Where's it at? Yeah, right here. It was on Twitter. It comes from Occupy Democrats. Democrat nor Republican, neither am I. But it says breaking bombshell news reveals that disturbing 5%, of all Americans, or a whopping 13 million people, if you break down the percentages, believe that force is justified to restore Donald Trump to the White House, even if it means killing people. That's 13 million people, 5%. That's 13 million people that believe violence is the answer. Now you got to realize, these are the same white people that always tell us violence isn't the answer. You know, when you have inner city violence, they're the ones that tell us that violence is not the answer. Remember, these are the same folks that said this to you. These are the same folks that talked about they're the ones that talking about that Joe Biden and Roland Martin's are lapdogs, and are being divisive by saying there are people out here. Since when is describing the problem and telling facts divisive? Only white supremacists and certain Republicans, which we got to realize now, all Republicans, even if you're behind them and you don't claim to be a racist, following racist people make you racist. Period. Say what you want to say. I don't really care. This is my point of view. Following racist people, even if you claim you're not a racist, makes you a racist. It is. You wouldn't have the same problem saying, hey, I'm a fan of Hitler's beliefs, but I don't like the way he killed the Jews, but I'm still behind him. That would make you one of him, right? Correct. So same thing applies here. If you're a Republican in this day and age, pretty much you're a racist. You're a white supremacist, and you back them. So my point is this: nobody had a problem at being divisive when they thought Black Lives Matter over the past summer of 2021 or 2020, when we were marching for our rights and to stop being murdered in the street. Fox News and other white people thought we were degenerates. You know, thought we were bad for the country. And it wasn't the first time. Ronald Reagan said that the Black Panthers were divisive and bad for the country, a threat to democracy. Whose democracy? Their democracy. And that's what people don't understand. You have to have the facts. And even the facts ain't good enough for a lot of people. That's how you know racism is so heavily set in. Because even when the facts don't bear out to some people that you can't even talk to anymore because they don't want to be talked to. That's when that evil and hatefulness is set in so much that you can't even be spoken to anymore because it's already set. It's like cement, wet cement that's set, it's rock hard. And that's where they are with it. And all of this is because it's based on a lie that this was their country, and it wasn't. You stole a country. Black people were brought here, and we weren't supposed to get loose. We weren't supposed to get freedom in their eyes. The moment we did, we became the enemy. Let me finish this by saying on this particular part. Also, I just wanted to finish up that Fox News said that's supposed to be Republicans are supposed to be the law and order people, and Fox News is supposed to be the law and order station. But if they only want law and order, as we said before, they only want law and order when black folks are fighting for their rights. They only want law and order if we're in the streets marching for our rights. That's the only time they want law and order, mind you. Can you imagine what would have happened if it'd been a bunch of Black Lives Matter people that broke into the Capitol? Can you imagine? And then now you have Republicans that was in there that time when the Oath Keepers and all these people broke into the Capitol. Now you got those same people that was those senators and stuff that was hiding under the benches, running and ducking for cover, scared to death, saying those were walking the park. I would have really been scared if it'd been Black Lives Matter, but I was fine. Now you got to realize these are the same assholes who was running and ducking under benches. This is how much they fear losing their white privilege. Now let's move on. I want to go ahead and quote my sister Jane Elliott, who made some very valuable points talking to Roland Martin just recently about the whole stupid situation of the black mermaid and all other kinds of stuff and how stupid it is. She says, and I quote, "Whites are using every trick in the book to enhance the righteousness of whiteness. And by doing it, they are proving that they're less intelligent and less civil than African Americans." Why? Because like she said, we would never get angry over something like that because it is a fairy tale. It's not real. And like she said, instead of your teachers teaching you this in class, that this is not real, it's a fairy tale, they teach you this as it's supposed to be like truth. And therein lies your problem in our school systems as well. I'd also like to point out a couple other little real facts right here as well that Jane also pointed out, and that I've said plenty of times before, white people don't seem to understand one thing. You are only 15 to 18% of the earth is classified as European. 15 to 18%. Everybody else is what they call people of color. So you will not replace us. You've already been replaced. Science even proves you came from us. It's going to come back to us. Facts. Let me finish up some statements from Jane Elliott, who said that this is really, when, in other words, she was trying to say that white people have always been the minority in the world. You've always been the minority. Just in America have you been the majority. That's why you felt so, you will not replace us. You will not take this and that. You will not take this and you will not take my place and this, that, and the other. Half the stuff that you're talking about taking the place of is in your mind. You still have most of the businesses. You still have most of the wealth. You make laws to make sure that other people don't get it. You cheat others out of their wealth to continue to boost your wealth. Out of their wealth to boost your wealth. It's crazy. One last quote I'm going to go from her on that I thought was hilarious was she said, by the way the ozone is working right now and the big hole in the ozone layer, she said, all the pale faces are going to die off of melanoma anyway. Melanoma is basically a skin cancer that you get from not having melanin in your skin. She said, so at the end of the day, it's going to take care of itself whether you like it or not. So you have all these white people and all these billionaires and all these scientists and all these people that are not, and senators and stuff that's not taking global warming seriously. It's not taking science seriously as a terror. She's like, they're going to fade out anyway. The pale faces are going to fade out anyway. You're going to die of skin cancer. She said black people are going to come in demand because we have melanin. Probably why half of us are disappearing right now. They're trying to find a way to take our melanin. But she comes up with a very great point. Either way, you're going to lose. What she said? What did she say here? She said the one thing that white folks do not realize is what she saying? She said the one thing you don't realize is you were here second, but you're going to leave first. This is Jane Elliott. This is not me. You were here second, and you're going to leave first. If not by science alone. And you don't seem to reconcile with that. She said, wait till they get that to wrap around their head. Wait till they start seeing their people falling by the dozen just from science, just from nature. Then black people are gonna be in high demand as usual. You're gonna beg your daughters and sons to get with a black man to keep your people going. Second thing I want to say about this too, we are all one people. It's the Europeans who decided to break us up into you're white, you're this. Do y'all want to know where white and black comes from? Let me. The Spanish Inquisition. Y'all can look this up yourself. But the Spanish Inquisition started this white and black shit. Yeah, back in the 15th, 14th century. Yeah, I documented this just so all y'all could know. Yeah, I wanted to get this down. Let me get this for y'all. Yeah. Back in the 15th to 16th century, this is what happened. The Spanish, I think it's during the Spanish Inquisition, they were trying to find out who was Christian, who was not, and all this other kind of stuff. And when they found out what ways of doing it, they tried doing it by color. White was considered innocent, white driven snow, innocent, pure. Black was considered dark and evil and all this other kind of stuff. And that's where we got calling people black and white. So African Americans should not call themselves black anymore. I know you think it's empowering, but we're still using outdated vocabulary and language here. We're still using 15th and 16th century language to describe ourselves, where black actually means the scourge of the earth, evil, demon, and white people actually mean, when you see it on a paper for whatever you're signing up for at school, when you're identifying yourself, white still means innocent and pure as the driven snow. And if you go check even maybe your parents' dictionary from the 1950s and 60s, it has it in there. That was the definition of black and or white. So I'm gonna try my best not to call black people no more. African Americans all the way. That's what you are. You're African and you were born in America, period. Now a lot of people get mad talking about, well, white Americans aren't called white Americans or European Americans. They're called Americans. Why can't I just be American? Because your ass ain't just an American. I don't give a damn what Europeans call themselves. You are an African American. They are African American. They're Africans too. All of them came from us. These are our children. They just turned against us as they got older, but these are our children. Most people don't understand that they all came from us. There's only one race, and that's one. One race. We're not aliens. Nobody came from a different planet. We're all the same thing. As Jane Elliott said, and I agree, we're all just different shades of brown. Now, we've been pissed off at each other, especially in America, for over 400 years because of this, and we identify ourselves and like to break ourselves up, and that was the white person that done that. Oh, I'm black. Fuck that white shit. No, they white, motherfucker. I'm black. You tell them that you white. No, I'm not. I don't have to tell them shit. They know. But see, there has to be a hierarchy. And that's how they try to separate and differentiate themselves from us. And, oh, you're black and I'm white and all this other kind of. They have to have something to do with it. If it was not that, it'd have been classism. If it wasn't that, it'd have been something else. Hell, a lot of white people don't even, they have classes within themselves, just like everybody else does. They decided classes. Well, I'm high class, you're low class. It's always going to be something, but we all are human. We're all human beings. And I do like what Roland said, and I'll point that out again. The reason why this is such a big thing now and it's turned into such a huge thing now is white people, older white people are so scared because their children are starting to ask questions. When Trump came into office, they didn't like what he was saying. There were white kids turning on their parents. Talking about, why are you going to this Trump rally on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, calling their parents out? As they should. Because you know what? Their kids know what's going on. Their kids know the truth. Their parents, not so much. They're pointing out their parents' racist, bad behavior. That's sad, but the good book does say, and I'm paraphrasing, that the children a child shall lead them. So that's y'all might want to look into that. That's Bible. Y'all want to look into that. But yeah. Got mad because all the little white children were jumping up against their family. That's racist. That's rude. That's rude. And these kids want to know the truth. And they will find the truth. But this is why their parents and grandparents are trying to hide it from them. Because they feel shamed. They feel shamed. And they don't want to feel bad. They don't want to have to explain to their children why this happened, why that happened, why is this still happening, why are they still killing. And like I said, I could tie all of this in. I mean, I just seen several videos online recently of police officers in schools, you know, the whatever cops they keep in school, breaking up fights. Now, the whole point, just like on the street, it's just supposed to de-escalate. They came in there like wrestlers, throwing children against the walls, body slamming black children down, all this other kind of crazy stuff, putting charges on them, cuffs on them. Oh, you done got charged. How you going to be charged for being in school? No knives, no guns, just a fight at school. Now you're going to tell me because I was fighting and I didn't adhere to you because I'm in a rage fighting somebody that now I'm resisting arrest. You're going to throw that charge on me too. After you done busted my head into a wall. All of this is because you are black and wasn't enslaved. As a woman said before, I was watching something on thing before. I was watching an Instagram post before. Can't remember the woman. It was a black woman talking to a bunch of Karens, and y'all might have seen this one. And she's absolutely right. I've said it a million times. Once you have been criminalized, like African Americans, not black, African Americans. Once you have been criminalized by slavery, once you have been criminalized as being a criminal just by the color of your skin, you are already a threat no matter what you do. Your very skin color is your gun. Your very skin color is your knife. Your very skin color is that shiv. Your very skin color is that mouth. So just being you, and this is the reason why we get thrown over cars. This is the reason why we get treated like crap in prison and guards try to kill us and hang us in local jail cells. And this is why they are allowed to give us such high speeding tickets and high everything else and lie to us at banks about money and redlining and everything else, because my skin color is a threat because it was criminalized since slavery. So I'm already classified as a criminal. So as criminals already, you know, in this country, we're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. But as a criminal already, I get treated as such. That's why you see so many black bodies, black kids, black men, black women killed every day in these streets with their hands up because you are a criminal already. You're already a criminal. I don't got to prove it. You're black. You're probably doing something wrong. This is for what I didn't catch you for. This is the sick mind of a lot of Europeans in this country. It's a sick mind. And that's what's wrong. Like I said, I can draw everything back to it. Brett Favre. Let's talk about Brett Favre, Mississippi. I don't know what board he's on, but he's on some kind of board for the school or whatever. And he supposedly have taken $6 million from that board of school that was supposed to go to like EBT cards and stuff for poor people, right? Right. So he was supposed to do all this stuff. He was working with some other white dudes in cahoots and everything else. And he took that $6 million that was supposed to go to them and diverted them funds to some Mississippi school that he went to. That was an alma mater of his. And now his daughter is going to that college. And he, diverted, I think, $5 million of those funds to her to make a volleyball stadium. Oh, and also he took another $1.2 million in speaking fees and things of that nature, and he got caught. Right? But everybody and their mama throwing their face. Oh, Brett didn't know. Brett didn't know. Brett didn't know. It wasn't Brett thing. But they got some text messages from Brett Favre. They got some text messages and stuff that do implicate that Brett knew what he said. Now, will Brett take the heat? We don't know. Also, remind you, he just got put in the Hall of Fame not too long ago. Like I said, what were they talking about? T.O. Owens? When Terry Owens, when he got put in the Hall of Fame, they wanted to bring up little things, and he got put in the Hall of Fame. Look at Mike Vick. Mike Vick got 2 years for dogfighting. This dude embezzled $6 million. Now, we don't know what's going to happen to Brett yet, but I can guarantee you it probably won't be what happened to Vic. Why? Because white people are the biggest stealers and embezzlers that get away with it ever. You know, if that had been a black dude with an EBT card that did something he wasn't supposed to do, or was selling food stamps, or was misusing that federal money, that $400 check he get on that EBT card, he'd have done 20 years. Why? Because you defrauded the government. 400 years. See, they want to make examples out of your black ass. But if Brett Favre does it, if other rich white people do it, and if you do happen to go to a jail for 6 months, you best believe it ain't going to be Rikers. You best believe that. It ain't going to be no Rikers. Oh, not for Mr. Brett Favre. He going to do a country club thing up here. That's how that's going to work out. And we all know this. Like I said, everything ties back into slavery. Everything does. So when you sit up here and you look at me and you tell me shit like, slavery so long ago. Yeah, but it's still going on today. You reap the benefits as a white person. Even if you're poor, you reap the benefits of the privilege. If you're a white man in America and you're poor, ain't no excuse for you. There is no excuse for you. Because you got the skin complexion for the collection. You got it. White people sit up here and tell me every day, I got problems, I got to work 2 jobs. That's great. That's great. You got to work hard. You're working hard as a regular white person in America. But I guarantee you, when you get stopped by the cops, you ain't worried he's going to whoop your ass because you black. I guarantee you, when you go into a bank, you ain't worried about, are they going to try to fuck me over because I'm black? You worried about, if I got enough, do I got enough money? Do I have enough collateral? Is my credit score okay? Yeah, we got that plus the black tax. That's what we got. We know that there's algorithms built in to banks discovering like, oh, what neighborhood is living? Oh, is he black too? Is he this? Okay. We know that there are algorithms built in for us. So your thought process and your hard life don't make worth a hill of beans to me. And I don't really give a shit because you're living the hard life of a regular person with nothing to deal with but life in general. We're dealing with life being on top of a black tax. If you had something like that, maybe you would understand, but you don't. So that's why I say I get tired of white folks. I work just hard and I work 2 jobs. You're doing better than I am. I'm doing better than you are despite my circumstances, not because of it. That shit didn't make me fucking stronger. It made me pissed off. Oh, what my man Mr. Baldwin said, to be a black man in America is to be angry all the time. And I can't afford to be angry all the time. I'm trying to get more black people to do mental health shit because we the one die first. Heart attacks, strokes, everything else. I'm not trying to do that. I advise all black people, if you're mad all the time, if you're angry all the time, if you're stressed out all the time, if you can afford it, get you a shrink to talk to, get you some medication. If you can't, buy you a Calm app, something, because it ain't being no bitch to try to relax yourself. It ain't being no punk to try to calm down. It ain't. You got to bring that shit down. That's what they want us to do, die. And we need to stop that bullshit right today. Now let me go another one of my favorites here. Yeah, there's another thing I want to say too. I want to touch on the slavery thing one more time really quick. A lot of people always talk. I remember when I was in high school, I didn't know a lot. I didn't. And a white guy would always get me, well, you sold yourself into slavery, so why can't we? I mean, what's the big deal? We all did it, blah, blah, blah. Okay, first of all, let me break it down to you since I have way more knowledge on that now. And the fact of the matter is, because of the movie The Woman King, we also know more, but y'all should have studied up before the movie came out. But the fact of the matter is, black folks did sell other black folks. We sold, like I said before, you can't look at this in the idea of selling slaves as white folks came to buy them. See, we were in Africa, a continent. When we warred, we had slaves. Y'all nuke motherfuckers, so it ain't nobody left. But that's a different story. We sold slaves, but it wasn't the slavery that y'all did. When we sold slaves to other people, they were like indentured servants. Just like a lot of white friends that I know that said, oh, well, my father was an indentured servant in Ireland. And blah, blah, blah. Yeah, an indentured servant, not a slave. That means you were treated like they had rules of how they treated you, and you were treated probably like a part of the family because you were white. Now, if you had a white slave, a black slave, what do you think that would have been like? Right. America is especially bad because they had this new thing that we've never seen before. It was called chattel slavery. That's where the slaves were treated like animals. So they didn't have that in Africa. And for a while, Africa did not know that when they were selling slaves to the Portuguese and the whites, that was happening to them. They had no clue. They didn't follow them over there to make sure they treated them right. I mean, if you look at like the Republic of Mali in West Africa, the Republic of Mali in Africa had its own constitution, which even discussed, see, we had our own constitution, which even discussed how to treat your slave. Also, it's in the Bible. Look it up. White people use this all the time. They want to tell you in the Bible what God says to obey your master, but you didn't listen to what God said about how you were supposed to treat your slave. See, that's why white people were so wrong too. You did not follow the whole Bible. White people are good for using the Bible for their purposes, but leave out the other parts. But you know, and I'm paraphrasing here, I do believe anybody that misuses the word of God, you will be dealt with. So for all of the ones that did, they'll be dealt with if they haven't already. Don't be half-assing the word of God. If you're going to speak it all. And that's where in Mali, like I said, the Republic of Mali, which was a big nation in West Africa, they even had how you treat your slaves. And I'm paraphrasing because I read it before. And it said, your slave is your slave, but you are not to treat them as the bag that they drag around, which means you don't treat them like shit. You don't beat them and work them from sunup to sundown. They were treated like family. As long as they did their work, they were treated like family. But white folks didn't do that. They busted your teeth out. They raped the women. They killed the men, hung, stretched them, tar and feathered them. Everything you can think of that's horrible you can do. Even when black people didn't want to go on no more, they went on a hunger strike, starving themselves. They busted their teeth out and forced them to eat. And then sold the babies off to different places just to try to break the parents. This is the evil vileness that they did that they still don't want to look at today because it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. Even though you use that same kind of system today when you break up black families, when you do no-knock warrants, killing people, when you throw people over to whatchamacallit, when you throw people over your cars, when you put black people in prison for stupid shit, and then you make the bail so high because you know they can't afford to do it, and then you put them in a hole in Rikers and wait for their trial to come up, which could be a year to a year, and they're in solitary confinement where their mind cracks to the point to where they get out, they kill themselves. Oh, these white folks know exactly what they're doing. And it all goes back to slavery. So don't ever tell me slavery has nothing to do with it. I told you I can bring back slavery to everything. We would have, if you read the 1619 Project, we would have we would have what's it called? We would have medical coverage for everybody for free right now. They already tried that when they released the slaves back in the day. But guess what happened? The white people said, would the black folks, Africans get them too? And they said, yeah, they would get health care too. They said, no, never mind. Even the poor ones would rather pay for health care that they didn't have the money to pay for than to let niggas have it as well. And we're going through the same thing today. The have and the have-nots, the rich controlling the poor whites, saying, hey, you want the blacks to get what you get? No, I can dig a little deeper in my pockets. But you keep complaining that you ain't got no money. You keep complaining to the president and your senators, you ain't got no more money for your chicken farms and everything else. But as long as the black people don't get it, like I said, white people love shooting themselves in the foot just to try to keep other people down. But I believe it was Lincoln that said, and I'm paraphrasing, you can't keep someone else down without keeping yourself down with them. And that's why these poor whites stay just as poor. Because they too busy trying to keep other people down and trying to do, instead of trying to do what's best for everyone. Like I told white folks before, if we do good in this country, you do good. If we don't, you don't. And there'll just be a selective few popping up from the rich every once in a while. And that's how it's been doing. And the middle class will get shrink, and the poor class will get big, and big. So it's on you what you want to decide to do. Oh, curriculums in school, which is funny too. I got this from her too. There was a beautiful Jane Elliott. Jane Elliott said, critical race theory is so stupid. She said, I don't call it critical race theory. I call it curriculum respecting truth. Curriculum respecting truth. Now, how can you get mad at that? Well, we all know, Jane, how they can get mad at that. America's never been a truth country. It's never been real. Bring me your tired, your masses, your yearning to be free. They weren't talking about Africans. They were talking about other Europeans. They didn't want nobody that looked African. Hell, they didn't want Italians. They wanted Finland, Switzerland. That's who they wanted here. Notice the only people they fighting to stop from getting here is Mexicans, and blacks. That's the only people they're stopping. It's the only people they're stopping. Like I said, look at Iran right now. Look at the Ukraine. All this support for the Ukraine, right? We're over there giving them weapons, doing all this kind of stuff. What's going on in Iran right now? Are we trying to help those women over there? Are we even saying anything? I'm not hearing anything on the news about them talking about we stand with the women of Iran. No. I heard some people like, we've had embargoes against Iran for a long time. We've had that. What the fuck does that mean? We've had problems with China for a long time too. But we've also stood up for the people when they did messed up shit. Right? And still got businesses over there. We still work with them. We still do this. You had the freaking Saudi prince who killed an American reporter. And we didn't say shit. Why? Because we need the oil. What you gonna say? They got you over barrel. What you gonna say? That's probably the only dark-skinned people. That's probably the only black people that got white people on their knees. Oh, the Saudis got them. That's the only one that got them on their knees right there. They like, let's go over there and shake hands. And be good to them. Maybe they get us all at a good price. Oh, they kissing that booty. That's the only ones that got you. Israel killed the American reporter. We ain't said nothing else about it. Right? Ukraine, we're giving money to every other day. Billions of dollars. You can't put a dollar amount on how much you owe black folks in reparations, but you giving to Ukraine all this money. You can't even start to help niggas out with a couple billion. But you just flushing money down there. They're their cousins. That's right. And you helped me get back at my rival, Russia. But those are my cousins. What was y'all when what happened to Rwanda happened? What were y'all happy? Where were y'all at when all these other black nations needed y'all help? No? Nothing really? Okay. That's what I thought. Whew. Let's see what else we're going to talk about today. We did Brett Favre. $6 million. Sad thing. Woman King. And I'm out, guys. After this, Woman King, I'm out. I'd like to talk about The Woman King for a minute. First of all, I'd like to tell everybody for The Woman King, it was a great movie. Excellent. If you haven't seen it, you're doing yourself a disservice. You need to go see The Woman King. Forget all the critics and the bullshit. It gets like 100 on Rotten Tomatoes. It is a great movie from start to finish. Viola Davis is absolutely right, and I'm sorry I don't know everybody else that was in the movie, but all you beautiful black women were gorgeous. You did great roles. I honestly think you were up there with Black Panther, if not surpassed, because it was based on a true story. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. There's not a part in this movie. It seemed like half documentary, half action. It blended very well, and it had heart like nobody's seen before. And my boy John Boyega, you did your thing, pimpin'. You did your thing. You did it. You did your thing. I'm serious. I'm proud of you. Yeah. Oh, and the whole incident about you saying you only date black women and people getting upset. Tell them to go fuck themselves, because those are the same assholes that jumped on you for being in Star Wars and calling you all these nigga names. Remember that? So yeah, tell them to kiss your ass. But The Woman King was great, and it's getting pushed back talking about some historical incorrectness, or they glossed over the slave trade. I'm like, have you seen the movie? Go see the movie before you start talking about they glossed over the slave trade, because the whole movie was circled around that. So I don't know what y'all talking about. If you ain't seen the movie, stop talking shit till you see the damn movie. It was excellently done. Nobody talks about Ridley Scott and all these other white people that made, what was it, Exodus, Gods and Kings, and made all these people and made all these damn people that was in that movie white. Wasn't no white people in the Bible. Wasn't no white people in the Bible. Y'all weren't even thought of at the time. Y'all weren't there. But I like to say, I just want to tell you, if you, thank y'all for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna end this segment, and I just want to tell you, we got a hurricane coming from all the people in Florida. Hope y'all stay safe and everything like that. And look, if y'all want to donate to Lee's Corner, which also goes to the Phoenix 22 Rising Project people, I make movies, I make films, I make Lee's Corner. So if y'all want to donate and help a brother out and keep this going and keep the company going and thriving, y'all can get me at Cash App. You can also get me at Zelle. It's going to all be at the bottom of the screen. I'm going to have it all. I'm going to do more, all that kind of stuff. But you can get me a Cash App and Zelle, and I'm going to try to open up some more things to where y'all can get me at all platforms. But like I said, thank you. I appreciate y'all joining me today. And I just want to say, this is the place you come to talk about the things you want to talk about. So with that being said, that's my time, and we'll catch you the next time. Y'all stay safe.